Writing a book, part 7. Showing up is the hardest part. That is simple. It also is one of the most complicated things I think I've ever contemplated. Um, when we think about showing up, or more like when we don't show up, um, exploring the layers of that are what I think makes life really interesting and worth living. Maybe I'm alone in that. I doubt it, though. I'm guessing that there's others out there who enjoy a good mystery, who enjoy a good puzzle. And in my experience, showing up is like a puzzle. It's like, how do I set the stage? Like I often light a candle while I'm writing because it just makes me that much more peaceful in that moment. And I have my space heater on because it's more fun to write when I'm warm and cozy. Little things like that. Like these are the puzzle pieces of setting the stage for myself so that I can show up in this way. And the part that's really, really sinking in this moment right here is the showing up, starting writing is the hardest part of writing the ebook. And I think perhaps there are those times when we fall into a place where we think like, well, starting writing is too hard, so like when it gets a little easier then I'll start and then I'll write. And like the start is like the first time you write. And the part that I'm realizing um, is that like you have to start writing like every time, every day. Every time you get up and go to the bathroom and come back, you have to start writing again. Well, you don't have to. That's the thing. It's like you don't have to. And that barrier of how hard it is to start writing, it's there every single time you start writing. And the part that changes, the part that I'm seeing that's like really the reason I wanted to talk about this, one of the reasons, is that the obstacle to start writing, it seems to be staying the same size. Like, as in, what I mean by that is like it's not getting easier, but my ability and my capacity for starting writing is growing. And so a hurdle that used to be twice as tall as I was, that felt like there's no way I can even get up over that. I mean, I only started writing like with some kind of momentum. Like I've had pockets on and off as I explained, but like this is like 3 weeks of momentum. So like don't let me fool you into thinking I'm some kind of expert and I've got years and years under my belt. But like even in 3 weeks of momentum, where actually I take that back, it's like almost 3 weeks. So, there you go. But like even in that, one, I am blown away by how much fun I'm having. I'm like just over the moon with how much fun this is to have this flow and this momentum of energy, and like just keep taking the clarity and the ideas and putting it on the page and then do it again and then go into Canva and make a little flow chart that explains why people take a guess instead of just finding the answer. Why do we guess? Like I had this whole epiphany of like why guessing happens, and I made a flow chart that shows the process of like this is what happens when people make a guess. And I put that in the book. And I'm like just over here coming up with ideas and putting them on the paper, coming up with ideas and putting them on the paper. And it is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. And I wrote in my journal, like this is the paragraph that led to me recording this right now. I said, for this reason, it makes sense I would have multiple books in progress as I catalog the processing of like my inner world and my experience into general buckets as they fit together. I absolutely adore this process. The only piece that's even a little dissatisfactory is how gradual and incremental and hard, I have that in quotation marks, because I have to start writing over and over and over. And it's like, it's so fun to ride the wave. It's so fun to like surf on top of the wave and feel the rush of the momentum under your feet, like air under a bird's wings. Like that is what it feels like when I'm in this process of like, have the idea, put it on the page. Like it is so freaking fun, like riding the wave. But to ride the wave, you got to drive to the beach. You got to have a surfboard. You got to like get your tools together and know how to use them, and then you got to show up at the beach, and more than that, you got to put your board in the water, you got to get on it, and you got to paddle yourself out there with your arms, with your muscles. You got to put in a little bit of effort in order to put yourself in the position where when the wave comes, there you go, and you're off and you're having the most exhilarating experience you've ever had. But there's a showing up, there's an effort to starting writing. There's a putting in the effort on purpose. And that's the part that I wonder if people really understand, because I don't think I did. I think everything I've ever written, the wave was so strong, it was like the wave itself snatched me up off the couch, and like I was riding the wave with very little effort of driving to the beach and like whatever. And so I've had bursts of that where the momentum is so powerful that it is effortless, indeed effortless. And I think I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting only for those. And the difference here is that I see, like, I think that's what happened. Well, I know that that is kind of what happened in the very beginning, like that windfall moment of like, what if it's an ebook? And like releasing the expectation that it has to be 200 pages. Like this thing can be 10 pages long and it's still going to be good. It's still a good use of your time, even if it's only 10 pages. And I was out there and I was riding on a wave, and I had so much fun riding on the wave that like now, even on mornings where the wave isn't there yet, and like I don't see a wave anywhere, I still drive to the beach. I forecast my day and I'm like, nope, no waves on the horizon. I still go to the beach. I open up the Word document and I start looking around in there. I take a cruise through, what headers haven't I written anything? Do any of those look fun? Do any of those remind me of a story? Write it on the page. And I look again at my little flow chart for guessing and how that happens, and I realize, ooh, I made a mistake. Let me go in Canva and fix that mistake and re-download it and fix it in the book. I didn't create any new content, but I edited a little bit that needed fixed, got that done. That was fun for right now, mindless and something I could do with this like low-hanging fruit. That's really all I'm in the mood for right now. So like it's like that. It's like, are you willing to drive to the beach even when there's not any promise of some big wave coming and carrying you along? Like, if you want on top of the wave, I urge you to go to the beach, because often if you go and if you swim out there, if you paddle out there on your board and you sit and you show up out in that place, there is a wave. The thing about like the promised waves, or like the big ones that we're looking for, it's like we only want it if it's 25 feet tall. And it's like, what about a 1 foot tall wave? Do you think that would be fun? Do you think it would be maybe marginally more fun than watching Netflix or, something, scrolling on your phone? I mean, showing up in that space, it's like maybe it's not going to deliver the end all be all. Maybe you're not going to like, fart and a manuscript comes out. Like maybe it's going to be some serious investment, some serious resources, just even to get to the beach, just even to, with your own arms and your own muscles, paddle yourself out there. The starting writing part is the hardest part, and you do it over and over and over and over, and that's where the book comes from. And that is, this is new information to me. That's why I'm making a video on it. Maybe you already know. That would be amazing. You're probably already showing up on a regular basis then, looking for those 1 foot tall waves, those 6-inch tall waves, like take what's there and enjoy the ride. And sometimes there are massive waves that are totally unpredicted. Like I told this story in one of the videos where it was about you don't really need to know what you're going to write in order to show up. If you feel like showing up, if you feel like driving to the beach, maybe that's because there's about to be a massive wave and nobody can promise you that, but you feel like going. So go, check it out, see what's there, show up, open it, see what happens. The other reason that I wanted to make this video and wanted to talk about this is because I got an amazing question on my channel through my comments that it really stirred me up as far as like I want to answer this on a video. I want to like really dive into this. Um, because it's such a simple question, and yet again, I think it's like one of the most complex things we can contemplate, because when we think about places we really want to be and yet we're not showing up there, I'm not saying just show up. I'm saying let's really sink into why would we not? If you know what it's like to ride on top of a wave, which I would imagine, like if you're listening to a series about writing a book, whether you're a writer or some other type of creator, which I mean, I would put myself in many categories. I make lots of things, and ebooks are now one of them. And that wave is self-expression. Like to get to express yourself, to get to translate your own energy into creating something in the physical, like that's exhilarating. And so if you're familiar with the exhilaration of creativity, why would you ever not show up in that place unless there was something really interesting, something really significant blocking your path? So it's not about like just go over there. It's like, let's take a look at what might that be and let's see what it could be. And her simple question was, I really want to write a blog about my journey to self-love. And yet I don't, I think was the answer. But the reason is because I get hung up in I don't have the technical skills to actually launch a blog. I don't know how to do that. And so then now I'm not writing the blog. And my, you know, my question is always going to be like, tell me about that block. Tell me about like, why, like, is it true that you don't know how to do that? Like, most of us can Google, most of us can work YouTube, and there are a gazillion free resources that tell you step by step by step how to launch your blog with as few clicks as possible. Beginner easy blog setup. Google it and see what you find. And that would be my first question is like, have you tried to move around this block in terms of just because you don't have a technical skill right now, does that mean you can't learn it for yourself? Is that the conclusion? Or do you believe that there's no one who can help you? Do you believe there's no one who can help you for free? Do you believe that it's too expensive to have somebody do this for me? Another resource that I'll share that I've used personally, I had an experience where I needed to transfer the hosting of my website. I don't understand any of that. Okay. I don't have any clue. I get the gist. You're moving it from this puffy cloud to this puffy cloud. Cool. But like, as far as what you're actually gonna do when you sit down to do this, I know nothing. I know nothing. And so there are multiple sites actually. The one I used, I believe, is called Upwork, and I hired a chick named Hannah for 40 or $60 an hour. And she charged me for, I think, 12 hours to transfer the hosting of my website. I have no idea. Let me just be completely upfront with you. I have no idea if that's a good deal. I don't know because I don't know. And the thing was, I wanted my website to be secure. I wanted it to be HTTPS so that when you go on my website, you don't have to get this is an unsafe website, go back to safety. You have to click advanced and then click proceed. Like that was the page that was at the front of my website because it was not secure on the hosting that I had it on. And I wanted it to be secure. And so I found a way. I went and I found a professional person who offers freelance services. They'll do little projects, whatever you need, and met with her. Actually, I had my virtual assistant meet with her and coordinate the whole thing. So I also paid her for her time to run that project for me because, again, I didn't want to do it because I don't want to learn this. It's not fun for me to think about website hosting at all. It drains my batteries real quick. And the more my batteries are drained, the less I can be creative in the way that I want to be. I want to be on that exhilarated riding of the wave moment. I don't want to be talking to Hannah about web hosting. I'm sure she's a lovely person, and I have full faith that she's going to be able to get us onto HTTPS. And when that day comes, I'm going to high five with her through the universe because I've never met her in person before. And I made it happen. I wanted it, so I found a way. And I paid my money to somebody who knew how to help me because it was worth having. So that process is available to any of us at any time. So not only are there free resources out there, if you apply your technical skill of Googling or YouTubing, you can find people who are talking about exactly what you need to know about, and you can spend your time, you can trade your time for learning this skill enough to be able to publish your own blog. Or you can hire somebody for a very whatever rate you want to pay. There's a big range out there. I'll just tell you that, like kind of, take your pick, whoever you want to hire. So like to pay for somebody's time to launch your blog and then teach you how to log in and click new blog and paste in your article and click publish. They can teach you that. You can hire them to train you. You can pay them for their time to get on a Zoom with you and record it, where they walk you through how to post a blog. And then as you need, you can look back at that video and you can post your blog. And within a couple times, I guarantee you don't even need to look at the video. Like, you can learn, you really can if you want to. Sometimes we don't want to learn. Sometimes it's like, can I pay you to post my blog? Can I pay you $10 like every time I want to email you a blog and you just log in and post it? Yes, absolutely. You can create arrangements with people where they will do things that you don't want to do. So you can partner with other people. That is a very real possibility. The other piece that I want to say is even bigger. And I really thought I was going to go here first, but this is not how it played out. So we're going to take what came. But the part that's even bigger than the technical skills is the writing and the reason why we're doing it. Like writing a blog sounds like it's for other people, and maybe it is. And I'm not saying that there's a right way to be motivated or a wrong way to be motivated. But the part that I have found in terms of like how to continue starting writing over and over and over, how to actually do that, how to continue showing up, I have to pull it back to it's fun to be on top of the wave. That's all. That's all. And so my point with that, what I mean by that is write the blog post even though you don't know how you're going to technically get it on a blog. Write the article and edit it like you were going to post it. And when you have that one finished, or maybe even before, if you're a little bit like me and you got a lot of Gemini energy going for you, maybe you have 3 blog posts that you're in various stages of writing and editing and polishing. And my point is that there is a lot of creative effort that goes into having a blog that has nothing to do with the technical details. And let me share a story from a client here a couple years ago. I helped her launch her blog. Like, I helped support her in that process. She needed very little technical support to get it going, and I helped her do that. She was one of my coaching clients. And the thing that I really respect about this story is that when she worked with me to help her get started, she had something like 11 or 12 totally finished articles. She had 12 finished blog posts that, like, the day I gave her access, like, basically, here's your username and password, click this, click this, click this, you're good to go. The next day, I look on there and her blog has 12 blog posts on it. She put them all. She put them all on day one. And she did that because she had them done, because they were done. They were sitting there. And that's the part where I think there can be a real tipping point. Like, I don't even think you need to worry. This is my real advice. This is like, if you want my honest opinion, you do not need to worry about the technical details. That is bullshit. And it's your ego's way of keeping you out of the ocean. But the ocean is where the waves are. And so either you want to ride the wave or you don't. And you can't have both at the same time. And the technical details, if you solve that problem, there will be another one. There will be another boogie monster that'll keep you out of the ocean. And the sooner you get good with just going in the ocean, who cares? If you know how to post these articles on a blog, write the articles. What do you want to say? Find your voice, because I guarantee that is the real boogie monster. You know, we're over here telling ourselves that we don't know how to do it, so it's not even worth doing. It's like, yeah, how about I deliver you a completely finished blog? What are you going to put on it? And then the real work begins. Because having a voice is hard. Being our authentic self and telling our story is vulnerable. It's risky. And there's a lot that comes up along those journeys of writing those articles. There's a lot to process. She didn't write 12 articles overnight. She'd been writing those for like a year. She'd been collecting her thoughts into articles for a year. And she was finally at this tipping point where, you know, yes, there's this hurdle. I don't know how to actually post these. I don't know how to finish setting up my blog. I tried and I just don't know how to do it. But I want it bad enough because these 12 articles are really good and I want them to be seen. So in order to have them be seen, I will do what I need to do. I'll pay who I need to pay. I'll ask for help from people who maybe can help me, maybe they can't, and I'll see what happens. And she put herself out there. She was vulnerable to seek the support she needed with the hurdle she was having. And in that support, she was able to publish all 12, and she just keeps publishing. So she goes through stages, as we all do, but like, she knows the process now, and she has that outlet now, and it exists for her. But it didn't start with figuring out how to physically technically start a blog. Like, that wasn't the thing. She wrote. You write, you show up, you start writing, and 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 you start writing. It's like, I think there can be maybe a misconception that, like, once you start writing, then you're writing. And it's like, no, then you're writing for like an hour, maybe two, and then you have to pee. And then you have to get up and get a drink of water, or your stomach is growling and it's about to eat itself. And so then you stop writing. And then you have to start again at some point. You have to drive out to the beach and you have to paddle back out into the ocean. You have to come out of the ocean sometimes to be a physical human. And then you have to go get back in. And so if we're scared of getting in the ocean, if that's really what's holding us back, or we think we shouldn't have to be bothered to drive to the beach, the wave should just come through my living room, it's like there's some pieces in there that, again, have nothing to do with technical difficulties or like lacking technical skills. There are deeper seated gaps in believing that you're capable of solving problems that come up along the way. And this really takes me back to the Leo full moon that we just had here a couple days ago. So, I mean, the moon's on into Virgo now, but at the time I'm recording this, but like still very much in the wake of that energy of like, Leo energy is resilience. Leo energy loves creativity so much that it's willing to tolerate shit sandwiches along the way. A shit sandwich, something like you have to get out of the ocean. And then you have to be willing to tolerate putting in the effort to get back out there. Those are shit sandwiches. It's hard to start writing. It's hard to catch a wave. But you do it. You do it if you want the experience, but only if you want the experience.